The minority in Parliament is warning it may be compelled to resist a proposed amendment to the 1992 Constitution that could see the date for general elections moved to November instead of December.
Joy News is learning the first gazette of the proposal has been tabled in Parliament, awaiting the mandatory 3-month period before it can be sent to the Council of State for advice. The Electoral Commission has meanwhile been planning with the proposed November 7 date, but Deputy Minority Leader Dominic Nitiwu tells our parliamentary correspondent Elton Brobe the posture of the EC chairperson has been unhelpful to the cause.
The political parties, major political parties, seem to be working towards that particular calendar. But a lot of things can change, in politics. So many things can change. Fortunes can change within a day, within a month. So I believe that the political parties will consult widely. And you know that for that amendment to succeed, both the MPP and the NDC for once must agree. If one side says no, then that's it. We are back to December 7th. That's the problem that we have. So that's why some time ago I cautioned the Electoral Commissioner that she should not be viewed as listening to one side only, or she should not be seen. Her action should not be seen as leaning towards one side, because if she does that, she could have major problems in her work, and it would be a big indictment on her if all her plans are thrown overboard because of her posture, because of all her posturing, or because of the way she goes about her duties. We just wait as MPs, as leaders in Parliament, and see how these things will go.
But as far as election is concerned,
I know that at the APAC level, parties are talking among themselves. Informally, parties are also talking among themselves. But look, come on, we need to engage as a country. It's one country, it's our country. We don't have another country. We need to engage. We need to move forward and see how this country can be shaped. But until it is done, we need to consult. So in this particular instance of the constitutional amendments, the parties have to consult widely. They shouldn't assume. If they assume, I believe that one day they will come back to bite our teeth, particularly Electoral Commission, because they have tied their programs to that part. Yeah. They need to consult widely with the political parties. It is very important for them. They really need to. They should not assume that everything is done and dusted, and so they can just push. It's not like that. There are so many interests that play into these things, and timing is one major thing when it comes to elections. And so if they don't consult widely, they may come to regret it.
Meanwhile, the minority leader, Abang Bagbin, is hopeful all differences could be addressed before the consideration of the House.
And the majority leader, Alban Bagbin, we beg your pardon now, he explains though a lot of work needs to be done before the amendments can be approved.
From the provisions in the Constitution, the date as at now is 7th of December. But looking at our experience in the transition of the various changes that we've had so far, we've definitely had difficulties. And so the whole country has come together and they proposed that we shift it from the 7th of December to the 7th of November. A bill to that effect will be coming before the House. Now, looking at the chapter on the amendment to constitutional provisions, it's rather very tedious and time-consuming. You need to gazette that bill, specifically meant for the amendment of the Constitution, twice. And between the first gazetting and the second gazetting, you need 3 months. And after the second gazetting, you need about 10 days before it's laid in the House and it's referred to the Council of State, and takes about 30 days before it comes back to the House. And that is why people are worried whether we have enough time to be able to pass that bill before we rise at the end of July. But I did indicate to members that if that is the case, there's a possibility of an emergency recall of the House to consider the bill, because it is very key to the success of our democracy. But as it is now, legally, it's still December 7th. But the proposal is that we should change it to November 7th. And we have all agreed that November 7th is a better, or is a preferred date to December 7th. It's just the details, the procedure, the processes that we are going through. And I'm sure we are capable of passing that law before that due date.
We know Parliament resumed sitting Tuesday after a 2-month break.
Now, key on the agenda for the first meeting will be the consideration of the Presidential Transition Amendment Bill and several others. The Speaker, Edward Doajaho, is demanding punctuality from MPs to enable the House discharge its duties effectively before rising at the end of July. He's asked MPs to attach more seriousness to the Right to Information Bill. One of the leading personalities pushing for the passage of the Right to Information Bill, Akoto Ampao, describes the Speaker's comments as reassuring, but says it will be meaningless without the amendments proposed by the Select Committee.
It is a welcome, observation and declaration and directive from the Speaker that the House ought to take the passage of the bill into law seriously and hopefully pass it into law before they rise sometime in July. But it would be meaningless without the amendments that the Select Committee is proposing the House adopts. The Constitution since 1993 has given citizens the right to information, subject to conditions, was subject to limitations and qualifications that are necessary in a democratic society. Those are the words of the Constitution. It is the obligation of Parliament to spell out what those conditions and qualifications are, and limitations are that are necessary in a democratic society. And if almost, 1993 and we are in 2016.
That's 2 decades.
Yes, 2 decades and more. This law this critical law has not been passed. I think that it doesn't speak well of our Parliament. And because of that, it is my view that Parliament has to live up to its expectations as honorable people and ensure that a good right to information law, not any right to information law, but a good and effective right to information law is passed.
39-year-old Matilda J. has been arrested and put before court by the Techiman MTTD for allegedly issuing fake or duplicated vehicle insurance to drivers in Techiman. Upon the MTTD's routine checks, it was detected that some drivers within the assembly had been using fake insurance, and a few of them were arrested. And they disclosed that the suspect, who works with the NSIA insurance company, issued the said document at a lower price. She was then arrested and arraigned before court. She pleaded guilty with explanation, but her explanation is yet to be heard as the presiding judge for the Chobodom Court adjourned the case to the 24th of May 2016.
627737. We're the same thing. And we must be different. Only God knows if I don't do say any trust idea akomo. Let's just say sa Asia insurance company sa returns any ho say omaka sa insurance ya e ho sticker say one na watermark no reflection room reflection bi e wo ho na we no say no reflection no any ho if say e photocopy.
Ahmadiyya Muslim youth in the country have been cautioned not to succumb to calls from politicians to act as agents of violence during the November 7 general elections. They were further implored to ensure they portray the doctrines of Islam in all activities by preaching and acting peacefully. The advice was given in Ho during the 25th regional rally for Ahmadiyyas in the Volta and Greater Accra regions.
The rally, which was on the theme Islam Stands for Peace, was to serve as a platform where the doctrines and teachings of the Islamic religion would be instilled into young Ahmadis. It is also to guide Ahmadis against indulging in unnecessary violence during the elections, which could jeopardize their future and that of the country. Speaking on the theme, Alhaji Mohammed Agbave warned Ahmadis not to be influenced by politicians with money to engage in acts of violence. He was also unhappy the Muslim religion is tagged as violent, arguing that Muslims who involve in the act of violence are not true Muslims.
As young men still forging a future for yourself, you will need all the peace in the world to be able to put your potentials into reasonable use. In an environment of war, dreams are killed and potential never get to the top. I may not have been what I have become today if this nation was plunged into war. When you go to Liberia, Sierra Leone, Burundi, Rwanda, and other nations that have been to endless war, you will see countless dreams that have been crushed. When you go to our various prison facilities, you will see wonderful talent and potential locked up within the four walls of the prison with no freedom to explore or put their talent into use.
The Greater Accra Regional Missionary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission, Maulvi Ragib Zia-ul-Haq, urged Ahmadis to renew their faith in Allah. He added that Ahmadis should not be skeptical about Allah answering their prayers and continue to pray fervently for peace as the country heads to the polls.
You can find easily that the purpose of religion is that they make a relationship between the man and his creator. Without that relationship between the man and the God, if we remove from the religion, then the purpose of the religion will be done. If you see, all the prophets came in this world to just establish this relationship, to tell their people that they have a one God, which one they have to worship. And whenever the people think that there's no God to worship, there's no anybody to listen to them, then Allah Ta'ala sent His Prophet to educate them. Unfortunately, this state also come from the Ummah of Muhammad Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Then some of the Muslim sect, some of the Muslims, they are thinking that no, they don't have any God who can listen to them. After this teaching of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, still they were thinking that no, this age, Allah is not accepting their prayer.
Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
Now the stories, presidential candidates of the Convention People's Party, Ivor Kobna Green Street, Monday afternoon, took his campaign tour to Zebela in the Bokuwas district of the Upper East region.
The campaign dubbed a PAM for tours to afford the CPP the opportunity to meet and interact with people or at the grassroots. Our Upper East correspondent Albert Sori joined the tour and came through with this report.
The tour was led by chairman and leader of the Convention People's Party, Professor Edmond Dele. Together with Upper East regional executives of the party, CPP presidential candidate Ivor Greenstreet paid a courtesy call on the chief of Zebela and his elders. Addressing a mini rally at the Zebela market later, Mr. Greenstreet bemoaned the state of affairs in the country and called on the people to look beyond his disability and vote for him for competent leadership.
Leader like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, you notice that when he left, he did not have any house, he did not have any bank accounts, he did not have any money. That is because he came to serve. He did not come to serve himself. And that is what we need from our leaders. Those who come and leave a memory in the hearts and minds of the people that they came to offer them opportunity and progress.
Chairman and leader of the CPP, Professor Edmond Dele, assured the youth that the CPP is the best alternative to govern the country, create jobs and give them hope.
Because if you can't pay your child's school fees, if you can't access healthcare, if you can't find employment, then you are disabled by your conditions of life. So just imagine if on top of that you have a sight impairment, a hearing impairment, or a physical impairment, then it is double for you. But meanwhile, all the laws are there. The Disability Act is there. The UN Convention is there. But why is it taking them so long to implement all of these things that the people deserve? Just imagine, even the 2% common fund that we're supposed to get doesn't come in time. So much more needs to be done. That is why we need change. That is why we need power. That's why we need a new way forward.
Mr. Greenstreet and Professor Dele also used the opportunity to introduce to the people the CPP's parliamentary candidate for Boko West, Benjamin Anafo. The team also made a stop at Bolgatanga for a similar address. His next step on this leg of the tour will take him to Sandema in the Bulsa South district.
Well, let's look at this. The presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Dankwe Akufo-Addo, is promising to create more jobs for Ghanaians.
He says amongst other promises when he toured the Trobo constituency in the Greater Accra region.
I came to promise you and also request something from you. We are in an election year, and all I need from you are your votes. My promise is to provide jobs for the youth and work on the economy, because when the economy is good, jobs are created. I need your support. The MP here is like an orphan because he's an opposition. When I'm president, he'll be stronger. Whatever we need to do to make Ofanko a better place, we will. Roads prepaid, among others.
Moses, Elim, that's why I said Janka, only Papa. About the milk of Kanoa, Alfena and Obabe day. That they hear, Sebea, Ama Troboa, Ama Ufancoano, Yabetmia, District Assembly, a coin. Prepaid, the Benunia Edjuma, Bedamase.
Nana Dankwe Akufo-Addo, presidential candidate of the NPP.
That's it for the AM News. We've got some of your messages, a few of them here on 0560 800,000. Munkaila Nansoni in Chiraponi. You say we look good. We thank you for that message. Thanks a lot. Roland likes messages like that. This one says, okay, I compliment you well. We thank you. You say we look magnificent. That's the word that you use. Thanks a lot. This one says it's always a great pleasure watching the most fascinating morning show in Ghana. My greetings to you, Mama V and Roland, and always giving us nothing but the best. Stay blessed. Abdullah Abdul Razak, our friend in Tamale.
Abdullah. Deciba.
That's it for me. We'll come back with the headlines.
Well, we're taking a break. The headlines next.